the path that led me to product management or product development, I would say it's all about my passion for the game. I'm a lifelong, passionate, hardcore gamer. And games have been part of my life as long as I can remember. So I got my first game console, and I'm dating myself here, but I got a Pong machine when I was 6. I got an Atari 2600 when I was 8. And I was playing games and living out the fantasy of what I wanted to, what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be through my video games. Over the years, some of the more memorable products I worked on would be Xbox 360 and Xbox Live Arcade at Microsoft. BattleNet at Blizzard, which included StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, Diablo 3, and World of Warcraft Cataclysm. I also worked on various games, including Call of Duty and Skylanders at Activision, a esports competitive gaming platform called Sparkade at Sony, and then now, of course, at Google Stadia.
3, 2, 1.
A career in video games at the time wasn't really a thing, right? When back in the birth of the industry, effectively in the late 70s and early 80s, video games were this novel thing. None of us knew if video games were going to be around or if it was just another toy on the shelf at Toys R Us. It was going to flame out in a couple of years. It wasn't until many years later that video games became a legitimate career. And so once that became more of a thing, and we saw the first wave of video games, console video games, of course, the boom and the bust in '83, and then coming back in 1984 with the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then the popularity of PC games grow through the Apple II and the Commodore 64. It became a little bit more of a permanent staple in my life and my friends' lives, and that's when I began to think, wow, this is what I love, and wouldn't it be cool? Just more as a younger kid, like, wouldn't it be cool if I could grow up and create video games? Coming out of business school, I had a passion for marketing as well. And marketing is all about, there's really different sides of marketing. There's marketing, more the creative services side of marketing, which is about marketing, execution, advertising, promotions, creative assets, making ads and displaying ads. There's media as a part of that, media buying. Then there's the marketing strategy part. At Google, we call it product marketing, which is more about understanding the customer, understanding the voice of the customer, and then building a strategy around how to address that customer and what product we should be building in order to address that market. I started off in marketing, and while I liked both sides of marketing, I really gravitated more towards the marketing strategy side, which is more about kind of understanding the customer and defining the product. But I was dissatisfied with, I wasn't really close enough to the product. I wanted to actually contribute to the product more than just the marketing people. Like, hi, thanks for your input. The product developers would take that and go, thanks for your input, and they'd go off and build the product. And I grew dissatisfied with that. I wanted to be closer to the product. I wanted to build the product. And that's why I moved from marketing into product. And I did so through what we call strategy and planning. So there's also this discipline at this area in development at a lot of the publishers and developers called planning or strategy, where they're business people that sit with the product developers and give input. They're kind of a bridge between marketing and product development. And so I came in through that route, going to Microsoft, going from the 1990s and marketing at Vivendi and other sort of associated companies, and then moved into product development. When I first came to Microsoft, I started off in planning, and that gave me a voice as a business person, contributing, sitting with the game developers into what we were building. And then from there, I actually use that as a bridge to get into product development proper. Product management is a really interesting term because it means different things at different companies, and different developers and publishers of video games, different platform owners of video games consider, and even different tech companies define product management in different ways. In my travels, in my career, I've worked in a number of different companies, platform owners, publishers, and developers, large and small, and each one is a little bit of a snowflake on what product means. In general, product is supposed to be about owning and defining the product. What is the product? What is the definition of the product we're trying to build? What are the goals of the product? Who's the customer of the product? What are the features of the product? And then how we're going to go about building the product. Now, you could break that into a couple of different areas. One area is what they call program management or project management, which is specs and schedule. So there's documentation associated with writing up what the product is so that you can give it to the engineering team and work with the engineering team to get it built. There's scheduling, right? Around, okay, what are the milestones? What are the checkpoints to get the game or the platform or whatever it is developed? That's more the project management or program management aspect. Not to be confused with product management, which is typically a marketing function. So there's also marketing, not to be confused with. Marketing also has a product management function, but they're like product marketing managers, which again are those strategy roles, figuring out customer and brand definition. So that term can be a little confusing or used interchangeably with marketing as well. There's program management, and then there's pure product definition. And pure product definition can get very technical, but it is about really understanding the data behind what product or feature it is that you're trying to build, and then coming up with the vision for what you're going to do, how is it going to be innovative, how is it going to be differentiated in the market, defining what that is, documenting what that is, and then building it and working with engineering to build it. At each company, they mix those roles differently, and this is where it can become a little confusing. At a company like Microsoft, for instance, which I worked at, they call it program management, PM. And program management is a combination of the project management, specs and schedule part, and the pure product, the defining what the product is. Other companies, by the way, also have a design discipline, and this is another dimension of it. People hear about design, and design can be broken into a couple of different areas based on whether you're building a platform or a game. There's what's called systems design, which is sort of core game systems or core platform feature. There's UI, UX design, which stands for user interface design or user experience design, which is more the visual. If you go to a web page and you see there's a drop-down menu or there's buttons, there's what's called information architecture. So how you lay out the interface, the human interface, that's called UI, UX design. And then there are other forms of design as well. So at Microsoft, it's kind of one part pure product definition, one part program, project management, all bundled into one. At Google, for example, we have a pure product definition discipline we call product, and we have PGM, just project management or program management, which works with these people, but they handle the schedule and the milestones and the data tracking, and they don't have anything to do with product definition, and these people don't have anything to do with scheduling. They're completely separate disciplines. At Microsoft, as an example, when I was working on Xbox, the program managers I mentioned were one part pure product definition. They also viewed themselves as designers. Whereas at a game development company like a PopCap or a Blizzard, which has a very, very strong design culture, design was its own discipline. And they were responsible for defining the features, the innovation, etc. And the producers were more the project managers. They own the specs and the schedule and the making sure that the resources were applied and the trains were running on time, but they had very little say about actually what the product is. The designers did. What's awesome about working in the game industry is that you can do something. If you're passionate about video games, you can work in a job that doesn't feel like a job. At the end of the day, I'm kind of more of a builder than a shepherd. I don't like so much. I'm not as satisfied taking somebody else's well-established business and squeezing an extra 3% of revenue out of it. I like building new things. I like creating new things. And we're in such an interesting time when capabilities of devices are advancing and AI is advancing and software is advancing and creative potential is advancing. New forms of user interaction are coming about with now, AR and VR and mixed reality and different modalities. All of that means creativity, means new stuff, means uncharted territory. I think the thing I like about product most is it is about innovation and new creation, right? It is the application of one's creative skills and ideas, and doing so in a tangible way, but in a collaborative way with lots of other people. The games industry is pretty well known and it's fairly well documented that it is a high stress industry. Any creative endeavor has a certain amount of stress that comes along with it. What if my idea is not a good idea? What if it flames out? What if it bombs? Are we going to get funding for the next project? Are they going to shut us down? Am I going to lose my job? It's just a very difficult equation, right? People have high expectations. They want a lot. They want you to be very honest with them. You don't have a lot of time and you have a lot of cool ideas. How do you balance all of those things? How do you build a great product that is compelling and innovative and, is advancing the state of the art beyond what's out there today and do so in a reasonable time frame and communicate that transparently to your customers and not have them berate you for under-delivering or over-promising. So, I think it's really balancing those things. It's really balancing, the stress and the creative endeavor, the time pressure, and maintaining a work-life balance, good work-life balance, making sure that you're still prioritizing yourself, your mental health, your well-being, your family, your significant other, and your personal interests, and not letting work consume your life. That is particularly important as you grow older and you have more and more draws on your time and your life as you start to have kids and maintain that work-life balance and managing that stress becomes even more important as you grow older. What you need passion and interest and enthusiasm. It's really that simple. If you love video games and you've sat back at video games and you've said, wow, this is really cool, but what if they took this boss battle from this other game and they merged it with this cool mechanic from this thing over here? Or what if they did this? Or what if it would be so much cooler if they did this or made this longer or added this character class or any one of a number of things. If you sit around playing video games and at the same time you're thinking about other video games and you're thinking about ways a video game could be better or an idea you have for a video game. I know these sound like design things and at some companies are called design, but it really is what are the core components of what a product manager is. You're responsible for defining a product, understanding the customer, understanding the goals, and then building a cool product that's going to delight customers. That requires passion, enthusiasm, and interest for the product. It also requires knowledge. And the other thing I would encourage you to do is, and again, this is a step function of passion and enthusiasm. Know your stuff. To this day, 30 years later, I still wake up every morning and I read IGN and I read Polygon and I read, gamesindustry.biz and Kotaku, and I'm a student of the industry. I'm looking at what the coolest trailer is, what the buzz is on Twitter, what games people are playing, what's hot. I'm talking to people about it because I love it. It's what I love to do in my personal time. And so I'm talking to buddies, figuring out what they're playing. I'm playing games myself. I'm learning about the industry. Have that knowledge base. Because that knowledge base in your personal life, again, if you're into it, you take that knowledge base and you directly bring it into your job. And you have the context to inform how to build a better product and how to be a more effective product manager. I would say as a generalization, in my career, companies that were more gaming companies, gaming publishers, gaming developers, a technical background was not required. There are a number of different inroads at the game publishers and game developers. On the platform side, which is more big tech companies, so you think about Microsoft, you think of a Sony, you think of a Google or an Amazon, or the people that are purveyors more of those, they have product management as a defined discipline that is not specific to games, right? Because those are large conglomerates that build a lot of different software. Google, for example, builds search and ads and play and YouTube and, core technologies and G Suite and a bunch of other things. At Microsoft, they build Windows and Office, and so they have more of a standardized discipline for product management. That discipline can involve technical or can involve some preference for some sort of technical background. Google, as an example, encourages someone with a CS or an EE background, some sort of a technical degree, as a prerequisite for product management. Now, there are exceptions to that. And there are people that don't have that. But as a general rule of thumb, technical background or technical degree or technical expertise advantages that candidate. At a company like Microsoft, little less so, but still technical background is encouraged, but balanced with business. So they're looking for hybrid people that have, like, maybe I have a business degree, double major, business and computer science, or people that understands both sides of the equation. If you're pure engineering, they want you to be an engineer. So having a balance of a technical background with business or marketing is the hybrid that they're looking for at a large technology for product. If you want to work at a game publisher, game developer, and you're more a production oriented or program management oriented thing, I would say that is broader. You can have a liberal arts background, you can have an English background, political science, international studies, business, straight up business degree are all really relevant. I've seen pre-law. Again, it's less about the specific curriculum and more about this person's ability to critically think, critically analyze, organize themselves, the ability to document, the ability to write and express oneself in written form, extremely important. Whether it's an email or a product requirements document, extremely important. The ability to motivate others, the ability to collaborate, the ability to use data. I think those are all fundamental qualities. There's a lot of competition for these jobs. Any advantage you have, be it a relationship or a mentor or a college counselor that happens to know somebody or a parent that knows somebody, use it. If you have that accessible and available to you, use it. If not, then my advice to you would be to try and find an angle that you can then parlay into an entry-level position. So in my example, I became a student rep at Apple on my campus in college, and then I used that to get into an entry-level position at Apple, which I then used to get into an entry-level position at a gaming company. So you can get a position in an adjacent space, and then with some hard work and get a little bit of experience under your belt, use that to get credibility into an entry-level position in games and try and ladder up, over and up that way. I also will give the advice that I've given to others: don't have an ego about it. Don't say like, oh, well, I'll only work in product, or I'll only work in marketing, or I'll only work in whatever. You should have an open-mindedness. Sometimes the best entry is QA, quality assurance. This is a known entry point into video gaming that in our industry. QA, which is quality assurance. So they're the people that take the game or the platform and they use it, they run it through their cycles, they find bugs, they log the bugs, and then they work with the engineers to actually get them fixed. That is a great entry-level position because there's lots of them and they have direct access to the product. They can directly contribute to the product development process, and along the way you can learn the ropes, you can learn the different disciplines and the roles. And there are many, many, many successful examples of colleagues I know that have come up through QA and have gone QA into production, into leadership, general management, being a VP at a company. So it's a very well-known path. The key is to get your foot in the door. It really doesn't matter over the span of your career what your first job was. It really doesn't matter. No one asks that. Both at the high school or the college level or the graduate school level, I would say if you can get an internship, absolutely take it. It is oftentimes that foot in the door, that back door that I'm referring to, that will get you an offer at a company. For a company, it's some free work or some inexpensive work, and it's kind of a try before you buy. So you can assess the person's capabilities over a 3 or 4 month period, and if they're good, they're on your short list next time you have an entry level role. So I would jump on them full stop, 100% anytime you have an opportunity to break in. The common thread for being successful in product and getting that first break into product is passion. Above all else, above your degree, above your experience, above what you have, if you have a passion for games, you will find a way in. People that want to be in this industry will find their way into this industry. If you really love what you do, this is a great industry and one that has enormous potential. Moving into product management, moving into strategy, moving into marketing, moving into engineering in this space, this is a great business to be in and one I definitely encourage.